Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the all-new ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X. I've also got the ROG Xbox Ally, and that video will be coming, but this is the one that I was more excited about, given the chipset that it's powered by, and it really does feel like it's been a long time coming for the Xbox Ally X. This is something that I've seen in person a few times. I went to California, then I went to Germany to check it out, and both of those times I was able to go hands-on with it. Tested a few games here and there, but it was kind of a monitored situation. But now that I've got this in my possession, we'll be able to see exactly what this thing can do. We're going to be doing some testing here, taking a look at the software, the overall design. This is more of a first look video. Need to spend a little more time with it before I do my full review on it, so keep that in mind. And before we really jump into it, there's one major thing that I want to mention. This is a Windows handheld. I've had a lot of people asking if you could install Steam games on it. It's not just Xbox or Game Pass games that can run on this. Since it runs Windows 11, albeit it's a newer version for handhelds with the full screen experience, you can install Steam games, GOG, Epic, EA, whatever game works on PC will work over here because basically we've got a handheld PC running Windows 11. Taking a look at the overall design, it's very reminiscent of the ROG Ally X, but we do have some handles here, more like real controller handles, which makes it a lot more comfortable than the Ally X or the original ROG Ally. And this is kept quite a lot from the Ally X, like the screen. It's the same 7-inch IPS 120Hz VRR display. Around back here, still using its dual fan cooling system. We've got our macro keys around back that we can program from software. And they've also added some micro texture grip to the new handles on the ROG Xbox Ally X. And around front, if we take a really close look, you can see that it's kind of engraved with ROG and Xbox. I thought this was a cool little feature. Up top here, we've got our shoulder buttons, our trigger buttons with the built-in haptics. So just like an Xbox controller, we've got some rumble with the triggers. Two USB Type-C ports. One of these is only USB 3.2, the other is USB 4.0. Power LED indicator, volume rocker, micro SD card slot, 3.5mm audio jack, and our power/fingerprint button. And just to kind of give you an idea, you can definitely see the resemblance. Between the ROG Xbox Ally X and the Ally X. To tell you the truth, when traveling to see this new device, I didn't carry an Ally X with me, so I really didn't notice how much they really kept from the Ally X. When it comes to the overall specs of the new ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X, this is powered by the AMD Ryzen Z2 Extreme. It's based on Zen 5. We've got 8 cores, 16 threads, but it's configured a little different from the Z1 Extreme because we have 3 Zen 5 cores and 5 Zen 5C cores. Base clock on all cores is 2 GHz across the board. The Zen 5 cores can clock up to 5 GHz, and the Zen 5C cores can clock up to 3.3. Just to put this into perspective for you, the Z1 Extreme was based on Zen 4, so, we've got earlier architecture. It also had 8 cores and 16 threads, but all 8 of those cores, with enough power thrown at them, could clock up to 5.1 GHz. But this does have a more powerful iGPU. It's actually the Radeon 890. It's based on RDNA 3.5, and we've got 16 compute units. It'll clock up to 2900 megahertz. It's got 24 gigabytes of RAM running at 8,000 megatransfers per second, 7-inch 120 Hz VRR IPS display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080. It's 100% sRGB, 500 nits of brightness. It's the same panel that we saw in the original ROG Ally and the Ally X. This came pre-installed with a 1TB 2280 M.2 SSD. It's got Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.2, an 80 watt-hour battery, and it's running Windows 11 with the new full screen experience. When it comes to ergonomics with these new handles, it does make it one of the most comfortable handhelds on the market right now. It does feel like you're holding an Xbox controller, albeit it's a bit heavier than an Xbox controller would be, but it fits right in the palm. I can reach all of the buttons super easily. And it just feels like your hands lay in the correct position once you pick this thing up. Really like what they've done here. Buttons feel responsive, analog sticks feel great. I don't think it's using Hall-based analog sticks, but you could upgrade down the road. Round back here, we've got the linear triggers, and they have added the vibration motor, so we do have some haptics with both of those. Personally, love this for racing games, and I mean, your hand just kind of wraps around this thing. It's got good weight distribution, and even with that 80 watt-hour battery, I mean, it's balanced really well. Now, one of the main claim to fames for these new handhelds is Windows with the full screen experience. It just really does kind of make it feel more like a handheld, but we can swap over to desktop mode at any given time. And while it's not recommended to have like two AAA games running at the same time to swap between, as you can see, you can always swap between a nice indie game and a AAA game. I personally haven't had any issues with it. Your results may vary. And again, I can't stress this enough. I mean, it's still Windows 11, so you can install Steam, GOG, EA, Amazon, whatever game store you use, you can install it here. And along with the Windows full screen experience, there's other software here that I want to give you a look at. I wanted to jump over to my game capture to give you a better look at the software. Right now, we're in full screen experience mode. So if I hold the Xbox button, we can swap between the apps that I have. And right down here at the bottom, Windows Desktop, it's not activated. If I click on it, it's going to ask me if I want to go over there. I do not want to activate it just yet. Once the system boots up completely, we're going to be right here in the Xbox app. We've got Game Pass over here, so we can go ahead and get our games if you've still got Game Pass. Moving down a bit, our library, and I've got a few Game Pass games installed, but I've got a lot of Steam stuff. And right here, you can see the logo, Steam, Game Pass. We've also got My Apps right here at the top. So this is going to allow us to kind of open up Steam from here. We've got Armory Crate. You can go through, download Epic, Ubisoft, GOG, Battle.net. It's really up to you. So holding that Xbox button will bring us into our task viewer. But if we just tap it one time, it's going to bring up our game bar. Brand new Armory Crate here in the game bar. We'll take a look at this in just a second. Moving over, we've got a quick launch menu for games that we've previously played. We can also go to My Library. Settings, basically same thing that we get on Windows on the game bar. So we've got quick access to our Bluetooth, network, airplane mode, Microsoft Edge Game Assistant. We've also got our Xbox Social, audio, capture the screen from here. The on-screen Windows Performance Monitor can be enabled. Gaming Copilot is a new feature. It can recommend games that you like and help you kind of get through a game if you need it. And finally, we've got our widget store. So there's actually a few that you can install, but when we move down, you can see all of the widgets that we just took a look at are accessible from here. Now, my favorite thing here with the new ROG Xbox Ally X is Armory Crate in the game bar. Super easy to access from here. And at the very top, we've got our performance. I'm plugged into power right now. Windows mode 17 watt, silent 13, performance 17, turbo 35, and of course manual. From here, we can go all the way up on the FPPT, which is going to be a 10-second boost, 55 watts. SPPT, 2 minutes up to 45. And SPL, this is going to be our sustained at 35 watt. Now this is plugged into power from the wall. We can change our gamepad mode just like we could on the original Ally. So we can go from gamepad to desktop or even auto. I usually just leave it right there in gamepad mode. Bring up our on-screen keyboard at any time from here. Real-time performance monitor. And right up here, you can actually see it. So this is going to be our minimal. There's a row, gives us a little more information. Also got the square, and you can move this anywhere on screen. Just really easy to access if you want to see exactly what's going on with the handheld while you're playing a game. FPS limiter can be set, AMD RSR, enable or disable the controller, and we can change the resolution. So this is basically just our quick menu in the game bar for Armory Crate, but we've also got full Armory Crate, and it does look a lot different than it did on the original ROG Ally or the Ally X. So at the top, all the way over on the left-hand side, we've still got our game library, and we can set this up in a list view if you want to. You can also manage your library, or you can manage a specific game, so game options, set game profile, add to favorites, game info, remove from library. Same kind of deal that we had in the last version of Armory Crate SE. Moving over just a bit here, we've got our Help Center, Game Deals, Content Platform, and if you wanted to sign in with your ROG account, you can do it from here. But from settings, we've got our control mode, gamepad mode. So from here, we can fully customize the buttons while we're in gamepad mode. We can also customize the buttons while we're in desktop mode. From gamepad mode, one thing that I like to do is just set up, like a task manager. So right here, I've got my task manager set up as my secondary function. You can go through and set this basically as any button you want. We've also got some actions. So I wanted to do that task manager. And now our M1 and our M2 keys are going to be our secondary function. So we can hold that and press whatever other button we have a secondary function set up as, and it'll control that action. The dead zones and response curve can be adjusted on both of the analog sticks. Dead zones for the triggers, vibration, so we can set up the intensity on the left and the right hand side. Plus we've got the haptic buttons, so this can also be adjusted. Gyro functionality, as mouse, as left stick, as right. You will have to kind of experiment with this, and some games work better, like let's say as a left stick or as a right stick. It really depends on what you want to do. If you want to move around with the gyro or kind of aim with the gyro, it's really up to you how you're going to set this up. And then external controller, which I don't have anything connected right now, but we can map that external controller from here. And with all that, we can do the same thing with our desktop mode controller setup. Calibration, audio, keyboard shortcuts. We've got our RGB control. Game visuals will allow you to adjust the color space of the built-in display. Update center. Updating with a newer device is definitely important. I've already had a bunch of updates hit this thing. Lighting control, connection, battery care. Battery care mode. Basically, with this, we can set this to only charge up to 80%, or we can charge the battery to 100%. So it's full capacity. At 80%, obviously, you're not going to get as much runtime out of the battery, but it will expand the life cycle of that battery. And finally, performance. Operating mode, kind of the same thing that we had in the quick menu. Windows, we've got silent, performance, turbo, and from manual, it's going to give us a little bit of a warning here. SPL 35, SPPT 45, up to 55 on-wall power. We can adjust the fan curve on both of the fans built into this. System stats, it just gives you a rundown on everything that's going on with the handheld. Eco Assist, extreme standby mode, modern standby assist, CPU boost can also be disabled. I've just left these on. This is how it came from the factory, and it's been working great just like this. GPU settings. Remember, the ROG Xbox Ally X has 24 gigs of system memory. I've got 8 gigs dedicated to the iGPU. We can go as low as 1 gig, or actually half a gig, auto, and all the way up to 16. From AMD Advanced Graphics options, you can optimize all, but we've got our Radeon Super Resolution, or RSR, AMD Fluid Motion Frames, Radeon Anti-Lag, Radeon Boost, Radeon Chill, and with Radeon Chill, idle FPS and peak FPS can be set. Plus, we've got Radeon Image Sharpening. This can also be accessed from AMD software here. But yeah, really nice. We've got all this set up. I do like the interface. Kind of wish we had a little more to it. Maybe a little customization, especially when it comes to the library. I do think they will do something down the road, but right now, at the time I'm making this video, this is how it looks. But this isn't the only front end you have to use on this. You can also have Steam automatically start up and go into like big picture mode, and you can use that even in the Xbox full screen experience mode. The next thing I wanted to take a look at here was RAM usage with and without the desktop running. So we're in full screen mode right now. I don't have anything else going except for the Xbox app. That's what's going to boot up for me. The desktop is completely closed, and I've set up a hotkey here to open up the task manager. If we take a look right here, we're at like 5.6 to 5.4 gigs of total usage. We can let it sit for just a bit to see what happens. Then I want to start up desktop mode and see how much RAM we're really saving here. So without the desktop running, we're anywhere from 5.4 gigs to 5.7. Let's go ahead and start the desktop up. Pretty easy to do, so I'm actually going to kill the task manager. But we can start the desktop right here from our game bar. Move over, exit full screen experience. So we'll choose continue, and it'll bring us right into the desktop. I think my task manager hotkey should still work here. So I'll open it up. Yeah, I'll just have to maximize it. And right down here, we're at 6.2. So we'll let this run through just a bit. Remember, without desktop mode, we were anywhere from 5.4 up to 5.7. So obviously, it is using extra apps that are utilizing more RAM. Microsoft and Xbox stated that in full screen experience mode, you can save around 2 gigs of RAM. It's not quite there yet, but it's still early, and I think they can optimize this a bit more. I also ran a few initial benchmarks, and with my first look videos, I usually just take it up as we can. So this is at 35 watts. I will have a video coming up with this thing facing off against the ROG Ally X and the Z1 Extreme. With that, we'll test at lower wattages, but with Geekbench 6, we got a single core of 2,790, multi 11,688, falling right in line with other Z2 Extreme powered devices that I've been able to test so far. And the last one I ran here was Time Spy. We got a pretty impressive 4,003. Not bad at all, and for sure, at 35 watts, this is beating out the Z1 Extreme. I've never been able to hit that 4,000 mark in Time Spy with the Z1 Extreme, even up to like a 45 watt TDP. Now, I wanted to check out the gaming performance, and the first one we have here is Forza Horizon 5. I love racing games on a handheld, and with good triggers like this, they're analog, so you've got that full throw on the gas and brake. And I can definitely feel the haptics here. It's got that vibration motor built in, so while you're pressing the gas and brake, it'll give you some feedback. One thing I've noticed about the Z2 Extreme and the ROG Xbox Ally X is the good low wattage performance. Right now, we're only at a 17 watt TDP. I've got this game at medium, 1080p medium settings. That's usually how I test it on a handheld. And we're over 90 FPS on average at a 17 watt TDP. Next thing I wanted to test here was the D-pad, and we've got basically the same D-pad from the ROG Ally X. This is one that, was kind of hit or miss for some people. I never really had issues with it. It's a bit harder than I'd like, a couple sharp edges here and there, but you can play from the outer edges or the middle. And as you can see with Street Fighter 6 here, I can pull these moves off quite easily. I'm still only at that 17 watt TDP. We're running this at 1080 medium also. Moving over to Cyberpunk 2077, and on the channel, I've tested 2 other devices with the Ryzen Z2 Extreme. With something like this game, I usually take it down, so right now, we're at 900p, so 1440 by 900. We're at a 25 watt TDP Steam Deck preset, and it's getting real close to hitting 60, but as you can see, it does dip on down. With this variable refresh rate display, it still feels great. We don't have any screen tearing going on, but we can actually get much more out of this game and save battery doing it. And to do this, all I had to do was enable FSR Frame Gen. I've taken it up to 1080, we're still at that Steam Deck preset, but instead of running at a 25 watt TDP, we're at a 17 watt TDP, and we're getting over 60 FPS on average. In fact, around 74. Taking it back up to 20 or 25 watts is going to net us much more, but this way we can get some really good runtime out of this battery also. I wanted to test a couple more games, and just to make it a bit easier, I set this thing up stationary. Doom the Dark Ages, 1080, medium, FSR set to balance at a 25 watt TDP. So we're in turbo mode from Armory Crate. Not quite at 60, but with some frame gen enabled, we can get up over that 70 mark with this. Not bad at all, and there are people out there that just don't like frame gen. I mean, I understand. If this was a $4,000 GPU that I had to pair up with another $3,000 worth of parts, I'd be a little upset. But we're working with an iGPU here, and frame gen can definitely be your best friend on something like this. The next one I went to was Borderlands 4, and this one just really takes a toll on any iGPU out there. 900p low with FSR set to balance, 25 watt TDP. We're not anywhere close to 60, and even with FSR frame gen enabled, same settings here, 900p low, turbo mode, 25 watts, we're still under that mark. So taking this down to 720p is really going to be the way to go. I also wanted to test out a couple indie games, but this kind of goes hand in hand with battery life testing. If you take a look at Afterburner, at the very bottom, I've got our total battery draw listed there with hardware info. This is what's being pulled from the battery with all components on this device. The speakers, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. I've got RGB off right now, and we're under 9 watts. This is going to give us a good idea of battery life with this thing. Silksong is a bit harder to run than Shredder's Revenge, so I went over here and we're right under 8 watts, like 7.7 watts in total draw. These machines don't have to work as hard to run indie games, so here's Cyberpunk 2077. We're in performance mode, so with 17 watt TDP, It's drawing around 26.5 watts and taking it up to turbo mode, which brings the TDP up to 25 watts, close to 32 watts in total. So with this knowledge and the fact that we know the size of this battery coming in with an 80 watt hour unit, with this testing, screen brightness was set to 50% and the refresh rate was also set to 60 Hz. Estimated battery life for indie gaming and 2D gaming in quiet mode. This thing pulls around 8 watts in total. That's about 10 hours of runtime. AAA gaming at a 17 watt TDP or performance mode pulls around 26 watts, about 3 hours. And AAA gaming at 25 watts, which is turbo mode, pulls 32 watts from that battery, around 2.5 hours of runtime. So not bad at all for what we've got here. So first impressions, ergonomics are spot on here. Really love the way this thing feels. Battery life is great, even up to, that performance mode, getting a 17 watt TDP, seeing around 3 hours of runtime out of it. With a lot of games, we will have to drop the resolution down at 17 watts, but not bad for a handheld. The Windows full screen experience still needs a little work, but I do like what I'm seeing here. Hopefully we get some consistent updates to this, and yeah, it would definitely be really awesome for all handhelds out there running Windows. Just makes it a lot easier to jump into gaming. And when it comes down to the display, I mean, it's a proven display. We've seen it in several different handhelds. The original ROG Ally, the Ally X, and GPD even used it in a couple of their devices. 7-inch IPS with variable refresh rate up to 120 Hz. Would have been nice to have an OLED here like some others out there, and that would have been a major upgrade for something like this. But right now, this is what we've got with the new ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X. I will have more videos on the way, and we definitely need to take a look at the other version, the ROG Xbox Ally. It's got a lower-end CPU, but it's coming in at a much lower price point. That might be interesting for some people out there. And I definitely want to face this one off against the original ROG Ally with that Z1 Extreme. So keep an eye on the channel if that's something you're interested in seeing. Hit that like button and think about subscribing so you know when I post the next one. But if you're interested in learning a little more about the ROG Xbox Ally X, I'll leave some links in the description. And if there's anything else you want to see running on this one or the lower end ROG Xbox Ally, let me know in the comments below. But that's it for this first look video. And like always, thanks for watching.